Welcome back, guys, to another episode of We're Doing Fine. I'm Connor James, and we're going to be talking about some things today. All right, I hope everybody had a great week last week and had a great week this week. But we're back for another one. I'm going to have some guests very soon coming up on here. I've figured out how to record with two cameras. That's big for me. I don't know anything about this recording stuff. But I just got finished last night. I went and played this show at a CCA banquet at Coastal Conservation Banquet. It was their last one of the year, so it was the big shebang down in Baton Rouge. And they actually hired a audio and a video company to do all the production and everything. So it made it a lot easier. I just had to bring my guitar, and that was it, plug and play. But there was like 1,000 people over there. And it was really cool, man. I love the CCA and all those guys over there. And I've probably done 25 shows for them in over the past 2 years or so. They get me for a lot of their banquets. But today, we're going to be talking about the concerts and the cool concerts, even the bad concerts that I've been a part of and played with and played in. And got some stories for that. But, all right. Well, we're back into it. This episode sponsored by Buffalo Trace Distillery. Cheers, everyone. Not really sponsored, but that'd be awesome, Buffalo Trace. I'm just saying. Just saying. So wherever you're listening to this right now, hopefully you can join me by having your own little drink or a little water. Doesn't matter to me. We're just here to have a good time because we're doing fine. But man, I want to get right into it. So when I first started doing music, I was recording my first album in Memphis, Tennessee with a guy named Keith Sykes. Big songwriter in the Nashville realm. You know, he wrote songs for Jimmy Buffett, John Prine, Jerry Jeff Walker, just some big names like that. And those guys are gone now, actually. Except they're all gone. He's still alive. He's kicking it, man. I talk to him every now and then. He sends me emails on how to record better every now and then. But old Mr. Keith, that's my man right there. But anyways, I was up in Memphis recording. This is probably 2019. And I went to go live in Memphis for 2 months. And I got hit up by this local bar back home. And I worked there when I was in high school. I was like a little bar back kid that really did a little bit of everything. Worked on the piers. It was on the lake on False River. And, like I built piers, I painted stuff. I didn't know how to paint. Cleaned stuff. I repaired golf cart boats, fueled boats, refilled beers and stuff like that. And anyways, a couple of years later after college, when I was doing this music thing, they always put on this big old Lake-a-Palooza on the river. And he hit me up and he said, man, would you like to come down? I know you're just getting in this music thing. We'd love to have you for the Lake-a-Palooza. And I said, dude, I don't know. I've never played live before. And I was just scared to death to how that would go. And he said, man, I'll fly you out. It'll be a deal. You play as long as you want. If you only know 3 songs, this, that. I said, no, let's do it. I had like a month. So I said, I think I can get you an hour. He said, all right, you do an hour, that's perfect. And so I started going every single day after we go record. I'd go back home and I started working on what songs do I know all the way through. And I was going down that list, and it might have been 5 or 6 that I knew all the way through. And a a lot of my new ones too that we were working on in the studio. But I just started um, practicing in the living room every night. I was like, all right. And Mr. Keith had told me that 4 minutes is one song. So if I knew an hour, that's like 4, 8, 12, 16. That's like, I don't know, 10, 12 songs, 13 songs, something like that. Get close to an hour. And so I started working on that. And I would be singing in the living room every single night working on it. Okay, I can do it. I can do it. And I went and bought a little iPad to, read some of the lyrics on it. And anyways, I'd gotten closer to the date, and I said, "Hey, man, I think I could do like maybe 2 hours now." All right, perfect. You play 2 hours. You do whatever you want. Everybody over here wants to see you play, and it was the coolest thing ever. So went down from Memphis. It was July 4th weekend, and got in on that Thursday, and played on Friday, and it was just me and my guitar, and had all my good buddies over there. A lot of people from the city that were supporting me and everything. It was a great show. I had a great time. It kicked it off for me, and I was just like, man, I gotta keep on doing this. So that kind of lit a fire under me, wanted me to keep working at it, to keep getting crowds like that. And anyways, went back to Memphis and continued to record. We were just cutting demos, getting ready to do the real recording in the next year or so. And anyways, that was my first show. And look, I remember right when I finished, I was like, all right, well, how do I get paid? And it's hectic. There's people everywhere. And I've never done this before. And one of my good buddies, he was a security guard. I'm like, hey, man, do you know where I go get paid? And they're like, oh, yeah, you'll get paid. And I'm like, well, how about now? And he's like, oh, yeah, we'll get it for you. And anyways, it was like, hey, they weren't, it's not that they weren't going to pay me, but I was just not keen to it or know what was going on. So I was impatient, and I was like, come on, they're not going to pay me, but they paid me. It was awesome. And I went and played there like the next 3 years. And anyways, that was a great first experience for concerts. And went and played some in Memphis with Keith while we were sitting over there in Memphis. He's an older man. I believe he's in his 70s, and he works very slow, but that's all right. You gotta just push through. He knows what he's doing. But we got a lot of stuff done. We probably did 20 demos or something like that. And then I came back home and started playing. I was tried getting gigs everywhere, trying to learn that whole business. And one of the first times I was still living in Pineville, Louisiana, and that was a dry county. Per my last video, I told you all that. But they had just opened this daiquiri place, and this daiquiri guy, we went in the bar, this brand new daiquiri place, me and a couple of my friends, and the owner was there, and we were shooting the bull, and said, hey man, y'all ever get music around here? My friends are hyping me up, and they're hyping him up, and they're like, yeah, you got to get this guy, he's got to play live music. And I was like, oh really, you play live music? And he's like, well, how about you go get your guitar, and you come back, show me you can play live music. And I'm like, what? So we ran back to the house. I grabbed my guitar, went back to the bar, and I played like 3 songs just right there, sitting at the bar, just all of us sitting around. And we were the only people in there. And he goes, can you play tomorrow? I'm like, tomorrow night? He's like, yeah. I said, I could. I don't have any of my stuff. It's all the way back home, like where I was from, which was about an hour and a half away. And he's like, if you could play tomorrow, let's do it. And I just told him, yeah, I'll play tomorrow. So ended up meeting my parents like halfway. And the next day, met them halfway with all my speakers, all my stuff. And I was like, all right, we're going to go play. And then I was the opening debut band for that bar in Pineville. It's one of the first bars over there that started serving alcohol and everything. And man, it was an awesome time. But That was another one over there in Pineville, man. We used to have a lot of fun at those little daiquiri shops because that's all they had, man. It was like two bars they had open. They opened one in Alexandria too. Shout out to East Side Daiquiris. They still got them over there. I've had some bad gigs as well. Want to highlight those, of course, but we're gonna go in through it. Man, just thinking of all, I was trying to think through all these gigs that I've played through, and I'm like, good Lord. Some of them are, I mean, they're all great stories, but it's like, what, how in the world did I find myself there? Um, One of my good buddies that plays music as well, Clay Cormier, he asked me, this was before I really knew him, but this is kind of how we bonded. He asked me to come play a show for him with him, open it up with him and his band. It was all the way down, and man, I forget what this place was called, but it was a big river bar in central Louisiana, close to like Lake Maurepas, and there was a hurricane coming, and I kept telling him, "Hey man, is the show still going? Are we gonna do that?" Like everybody's evacuating certain areas of Louisiana. Oh yeah, yeah, show's still going on, man. I'm like, what are we doing? I mean, we're gonna get rained out. There's not gonna be anybody over there. He's like, no, show's still going. I'll let you know if anything changes, and come around like 4 o'clock because it takes like 2 hours to drive over there from where I'm at. And he said, yep, show's still going, so we'll be over there. We'll start at 8 o'clock. And I'm like, dang, all right, I guess we're gonna go do this. So we go all the way to this bar. Man, I'm trying to remember the name of this place. One second, I'm gonna look it up. Lake Maurepas Bar. Not the Blind River. It's an old bar, but man, it was a cool place. I even have there was a sign on the side of the road, and it said Clay Cormier with special guest Connor James. I got out of my truck, took the sign, put it in the back of my truck because I thought that was cool. But yes, it was near Lake Maurepas, way down there, whatever. So, anyways, we're gonna go play this gig. I meet his band and everything. Those are some cool guys. Those are some of my best friends. I still talk to them every time we meet up. Love those guys. Shout out B Rice and Austin and Clay. They're all the best. Even better musicians, but great people too. So we're just kind of waiting around. We do our sound check. We get everything going. Nobody's there. A couple of girls that are working the bar that evening. The owner's there. And time we got there probably, I don't know, 6 or 7, and we're just waiting around. And it's like, all right, kind of, well, it's your time to go. I'm like, okay, I'll go. And I went up there and played. I played for an hour to Clay and his band, and I'm like, well, I tried to tell y'all, but you're gonna have that. It was one of those character building gigs, I like to call them. You get to know yourself a little bit. You get to punch through that, man, when you're not playing for anybody. But it was also fun because it was just us. And you're kind of practicing at the same time. Every time I do a band, every time I play a show, no matter what it is, if it's a terrible show, it's like, man, this is a great time to go practice some stuff, go do stuff you've never tried before, all that. And anyways, a hurricane came, wiped the whole city out, and I don't think maybe that's why it's not a bar anymore. But I don't know. That was a cool thing. Another weird one. Okay, one of my friends that does music. This might have been last year. I think this was last year, 2024. One of my friends called me and said, "Hey man, I can't do this show. Do you think you can do it?" And I was playing down in Grand Isle that night before. I said, "Well, what is it?" He said, "Oh, it's at 12 o'clock. It's in Baton Rouge. Um, they're paying good money, dude." I said, okay. You only got to play for an hour. And it was like $400 or $500 for 1 hour. I'm like, really? Yeah, I'm gonna take that. And he goes, all right, well, you got to give me $100. And I'm like, all right, because he booked it. And what it was a funeral wake after the funeral. I said, okay. So you're kind of weighing funeral, 1 hour, good money, 6, 7. But so I told him yes. I said I'd do it. And I said, man, what in the world? I said, all right, I'll do it. It was at a bar, restaurant type thing. And um, th- it was the weirdest, the saddest thing I've ever done. I mean, it was cool though. I mean, I think a lot of my music is kind of slow on the slower side, anyways. So maybe I was the perfect candidate for this. So I get over there and I'm like, hey guys, I'm here to play music. And I walk in and there's the memoriam, the lady's picture in the corner. They're like, oh, you're gonna be in that other corner over there. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll set my stuff up. And dude, I'm just trying to loosen up because and I think this might have been I think it was a Saturday or a Sunday. And then these people start coming in and they're boo-hooing, you know. I mean, it was terrible. I don't even know what happened to the lady, but she was older. But these people are walking in, they're crying, they're holding each other, and I'm just like, oh gosh, this is gonna be a tough one. So I'm playing songs. The guy that was putting it on, he came up to me and he said, "Hey man, let's keep it not too happy. Don't play any too upbeat stuff. Try not to make anybody cry." I'm like, what in the world do you want me to? Y'all, why did y'all even get music over here? So like I was playing I remember I played one song and somebody busted out crying, dude, in front of me. They're looking at me, bawling their eyes out, and I knew this one song did something to them. And they came up to me afterwards and like, oh, that was their favorite song. Oh, it reminds me so much. And I was like, I mean, what do you say? What do you say to that? Yeah. Well, thank you for liking it, and I'm sorry to hear. But it only lasted an hour, and I left. And the guy was like, "Man, thank you so much. Here's your money. Well, if we ever need you again," I was like, "Please don't need me again for anything like this. Hopefully, but if you do, I'll do it. I'm uh, I'm cheap." So that was a quite an odd show. I had some other great shows though, some pretty darn good ones. Excuse my dog if you see him walking around, wandering around in the back, but I'm gone a lot of the time, and he just loves me, you know. Well, anyways, some of these great shows, man. I started when I was doing some music over here, and I did some recordings. I had a guy reach out. One of my songs, "Drive Myself to Drinking," and he loved it. And he's a big radio guy, and he called me, got in touch with my dad, and he said, "Man, I love that song. Is there any way we can do a music video for it? I'll do it totally free. I love that song so much. I want to do it totally free. I'll bring the production crew, all this stuff." So we recorded this music video inside of our shop where we work at. And after that, he asked me to come play. He said, "Hey, man, have you ever played in front of 3,000, 4,000 people?" I'm like, "No, of course not. I played in front of maybe 40 or 50. He said, "Would you want to?" I said, "Well, absolutely." So this is Scott Ennis. Shout out to Scott Ennis for helping me out with that. That was awesome. He was the voice of Scooby Doo back in the early 2000s, and he got me on a couple of these shows that he put together, and they were fantastic shows. And thank you for that, Scott. So, anyways, this is the first one. It was a Cajun Country Super Jam, and this is right after COVID. This is like 2021. They're still opening stuff back from the pandemic, And so it was a little weird. This was going to be like the big comeback show. And it was Dylan Scott, Chase Tyler, Peyton Smith, and me, I believe. And I didn't know who Dylan Scott was, but he was the big headliner. I know who he is now, of course, but I didn't know who he was. And they were like, "Hey, we're playing at the Lamar Dixon. It's going to be the arena show is going to be packed with people. You're going to be the opener, just you and your guitar. You're going to go out there and play." I was like, "All right, I can do that." And you'd be surprised, you guys. Playing in front of 3,000 people is way easier than playing in front of 10 people. Because you see those 10 people sitting in front of you, they're watching every move you make. 3,000, it's just a blanket. It's like people. It's just crowd everywhere. And man, I showed up to the arena for sound check. So I park my truck in the back. I walk up and I go, "Hey man, Konner James, I'm over here to play music tonight. Where's my dressing room?" And it's a tour bus, tour bus, tour bus. Name on the door, name on the door, name on the door. Not my name on the door. I was like, okay. So, anyways, I walked to security. I said, "Hey, my name's not on any of the doors. Where can I get dressed at?" And this guy turns around and goes, "Oh man, Konner, good to see you, dude." Comes and grabs me, shakes my hand. "I love the new music video. It's awesome. Man, you need somewhere to go put your stuff? Use my room, man. You can have my green room. I don't need it. I got my tour bus, so you take that whole thing over." And that was Chase Tyler. And one of the nicest guys I ever met doing music. I mean, just the nicest guy. And I was like, "Oh, dude, thank you so much." And I'd never met Chase ever before. He's a Baton Rouge guy. He's in like the Louisiana Music Hall of Fame. He plays all over the place. But I was like, "God, I like this guy." So he shoved me to his green room, big old room. I was like, "All right, well, I got this little room to myself." And it was actually a big room, and I had plenty of space to do whatever. And they never came in. So me and my family, my friends, we all got to go backstage and sit back there. I got dressed in there, and I went outside and listened to Dylan Scott do his sound checking. And man, Dylan Scott does like the pop country music. He had a couple of number ones, I think, but he's on the pop side for music. But listening to him do sound checks, like, man, this dude's got a great voice. He's from North Louisiana, Bastrop, I believe. And anyways, I got to play my show, listen to him sound check. He was great. And another guy, they were all Louisiana guys. Peyton Smith is from like Homa or something like that, but they're Nashville now. And I went on about 6 o'clock. This was going to be a big long show, 4 guys playing. And I had a whole 45 minutes. So I was going to play my whole set just by myself. I could do my sound check. And I brought 2 guitars because I said, what if one goes bad? And you know what? My guitar went bad. It needed a new battery or something. And it wasn't working at all. So we had to use the other guitar that I brought. And it worked fine. And I played my whole show, man. It was just, I'm sitting behind stage, about to get called up. Scott Ennis goes on stage to introduce everybody, tell everybody about this Cajun Country Super Jam. There's people out here that drove 2,000 miles to come see Dylan Scott play. Like, this was a big deal. And I'm just sitting back there, and I'm on the steps right before you go up the stage in the back. And Scott slaps me on the back, and he's like, "You ready, man?" I'm like, "I better be. We're here." And he gets up there like it's a friggin' WWE. "What's going on, everybody? How you doing tonight?" Ah. And it's just crazy. And he's like, "We got some great people coming on tonight. How about we give it up for our first act of the night, Konner James?" Ah. yeah, Konner. And dude, I have never heard this before in my life. And I'm just dying. Like, man, this is to die for. This is the coolest thing you can ever do. The coolest thing. I'm the coolest dude on the planet right now. And I'm going up on stage like, yeah, what's up? This is just awesome, man. You're just trying to soak it all in. Hands it off to me. He's like, go kill it. So we went up there, did my 45 minutes. It was so cool, awesome. Finished up with that, and man, I don't know how to act. So I meet up with my buddies. They're backstage with me, and they're like, "Let's go get a drink. Let's go get a drink." I'm like, "All right." And one of my buddies, Keelan, "Hey, I'm your bodyguard tonight. I'm your bodyguard. You gonna walk with me? Come on." So it's all of us are just like in front of me, and we're going through. We're kind of walking. We can go wherever because we got the band pass and all that. And I got, man, people are running down from the bleachers. Konner, 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 wait, can I get a picture? Can I sign this? I'm like, you people had never heard of me in your life until tonight. But man, I was signing stuff. I was taking pictures. Like I said, man, I felt like a rock star. This was the coolest thing ever. I swear to you. And anyways, that night was awesome, man. And to think it couldn't get more cooler. So I'm sitting in my green room, and this is maybe an hour later. A guy comes in and he goes, "Hey, Konner, I got a question for you. Quentin Aaron from The Blind Side wants to come and sit in your room. They don't have a place to sit. Do you mind if they come sit in your room?" I said, "Quentin Aaron, who's that?" He said, "It's Michael Orr from The Blind Side." I'm like, what? Yeah, tell him to come on. So he comes on in. This dude is 7 foot tall and just the nicest guy ever. He's with his buddy Wayne Morgan, who I know now. He's an awesome guy as well. They do movies together, and we chopped it up. Man, we're all getting pictures with Quentin, and it is just. I'm like, dude, what am I living right now? What is this? And then I'm going to get a drink or something. I leave the room to go get a drink. Got Quentin Aaron in my room, and a security stops me. He goes, "Hey, your buddy?" No, no. He stops me. He goes, "I am so sorry, man. I did not know that was your friend. I'm so sorry." I said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. What's going on?" Well, my drunk friend walks in Dylan Scott's dressing room without asking anybody, and they're all in there, and they're like, "Who in the hell is this?" And he like nearly got kicked out and arrested. And anyways, he's apologizing to me. He's like, "I didn't know he was with you." I'm like, dude, you should have kicked him out. You should have kicked him out. He ain't worth a darn. But no, that was funny. So anyways, that was a great night. And dude, you know what's weird? Before my mom was sitting backstage, and Dylan Scott was like working out or something, doing at his bus, working out outside. And the security guard comes up to my mom and he's like, "Ma'am, you can't be watching this. You have to go back inside or leave right now." And my mom's like, "What?" I think I'm it was weird. But anyways, Billy Nungesser was there, lieutenant governor, and I got asked to do a picture. So I had tried talking to Dylan Scott a couple of times, but he was like zero access. You don't talk to me kind of guy. Like, nope, nope, nope. Straight from. Do not speak. Even if like I was like, "Hey, but no, doesn't talk to you." So the lieutenant governor comes up to me. He wants to get a picture with me, Quentin from The Blind Side, and Dylan Scott. I'm like, "All right, yeah, cool." So we all go take a picture with him. And I was like, I had a couple drinks by then, and this is like towards the end of the night, and I was like, he's gonna know who I am. So he's walking away. He's kind of a short guy, and I grabbed him on the shoulder, and I said, "Hey, buddy," and he turned around, and I said, "I'm Konner James. Nice to meet you. You know who I am? I played for you. I opened up the show for you." "Okay, yeah." But no, it was just being dumb. But it was cool. It was a great show. And man, that was like a night I'll never forget. Probably, man, I'd have to say it's probably the best night of my life. Played a couple of more like that. I did one, another Cajun Country Jam. Man, I've opened up for Wayne Toops a couple times, Neil McCoy, um, Randy Travis. He was at one of them. I'll tell that story. And what's his name? Travis Tritt. He was at another one. Played for Marty Raven a couple of times. Opened up for him a couple of times, like three times. He's the singer for Shenandoah. He is one of the nicest guys I've ever met in the music industry. Marty Raven is just a class act guy. One time we were playing at this VFW, another thing that Scott had put on, and it was just me doing an acoustic thing, and then Shenandoah, Marty, was coming on with one of his guys afterwards. And after my thing, I wanted to give him one of my koozies so he just knew who I was. And I sat down. I was like, "Hey, man, what's the craziest thing y'all have ever done over there?" And he just looked at me. He was like, "My buddy, I gave up my life to Christ many years ago. I don't have anything crazy. I don't want to talk about it, and it ain't worth talking about. But I lived a good life, and I'm happy to be here right now." And I was like, "Oh, okay." But he was cool. I got to meet him like 3 or 4 times, and like I said, class act, great guy. Travis Tritt at one of these big concerts. Marty was actually at the same one of the same ones, and we were all in the green room in the back, and Marty Raven's just kicking it with everybody. He's walking around in one of his T-shirts. I think he had a T-shirt on that said Marty Raven or Shenandoah or something. It was like he just looks like he's having fun, little old guy having fun. And we're all eating in the back. "Hey, man, what's going on? Good to see you again." And then we all got kicked out. We all had to leave, evacuate the area. Travis Tritt's coming in. Seriously, got all kicked out of the back. And never got to see Travis Tritt. Never got to meet him. Saw him playing his music, and that was it. It was nobody in the back when he was there. And I don't know. Everybody might have a different opinion about it. But, what do you do? Are you that big of a guy? Can't meet? I mean, even when you're in the back, Marty Raven's in the back. You're going to kick everybody out so you can go and eat. It was just stuff like that, man. I love Travis Tritt's stuff. I actually, whenever I had posted my first video on Twitter, and look, I could have the story wrong or misconstrued, but we were kicked out per his team and then weren't allowed in the back. But that could be his manager doing stuff like that. I don't know. But like I said, I never got to meet him. But when I first started doing this music thing, I'd posted a video on Twitter. It was my first one ever. And it was actually a couple after my first one, because my first one went super viral on Twitter years ago. And then I did a Travis Tritt song, and he replied to it on Twitter. He was like, "Heck yeah, buddy," or something like that. He was like, "Great job, man. Love to hear it." I'm like, dude, Travis Tritt just commented on my freaking Twitter post. And so maybe, it's probably just us making assumptions and whatnot. So I shouldn't say that. But, man, had some great stuff. Another one, Randy Travis was over there, and got to meet him and his fabulous wife. They were just the nicest people. The nicest people. All these country guys, these older country guys, they're, just the nicest guys. We were walking backstage, and Randy Travis came up. He's in a wheelchair and everything. And I had some friends that were there that weren't backstage. And I said, "Hey, come hop the fence. I'm good. You're good. You're with me. We're going to go get a picture with Randy Travis. We will never get to do this again." So they came with me in the back, and some of them that weren't around, they didn't come because they just weren't there at that moment. And I took like my sister and a couple of my friends. I'm like, they hopped the fence to get on my side. And we ran up the thing, talked to him, got pictures with him. Him and his wife were just so nice. He was showing us all the guitars. Marty Raven was up there. like talking to him. I'm like, dude, it don't get cooler than this. My gosh. This is like, I felt like a celebrity just sitting up amongst these guys that wrote these songs, sang these songs. So those Cajun country jams, man, those were so sick. I mean, I felt like every time I did one, I did maybe 4 or 5 of them, but every time I did one, I just felt like celebrity, celebrity status. And you can't help but not. You're just trying to, like, when people come compliment you, I'm not one of those that can take a compliment. So I'm just like, oh, no, dude, I sucked. You didn't hear me on that last part? I sucked it up. It was terrible. But it was fun. It was so fun. And hopefully do some more like that. So my one of my first concerts that I'd ever done. This is this is a story. So when I had first gotten into it, I was at school, Louisiana College, and like I said, I posted that video. That's how it all started. I posted that video, and man, I was dying to post this video. I did not want to do it. I did not want anyone to hear me. I didn't want to do it. But I had like 3 or 4 really, really close friends that were like, Connor, you have to do it. You have to do this. Like, they thought I was that good. And I was like, God, I don't want to do it, dude. And they're like, make a video, put it on Twitter. And I was in my room, and it was me and my buddy. And he's like, I'll go sit in the living room. You don't have to hear it. And I won't have to hear it. So you would go record in the kitchen, and I'll sit in the living room. I won't listen. And I was recording my first song in the kitchen of our rent house, and I was doing "Making Me Look Good Again." And dude, I posted it, and I threw my phone. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta delete it. Oh no, I didn't look at my phone for 3 or 4 hours, and I had class in about 30 minutes or 40 minutes, and went to class. And Elsie's a really small school, so everybody kind of knows everybody. And I had people come to me in class, like, Connor, man, I didn't know you could sing like that, dude. That's awesome. Oh my God. And I'm like, oh my goodness, it already spread that fast. And I am literally dying, dude. I think I turned my phone off. I mean, I did not want to see anything. And we go to practice, and Coach Burns walks in. We're sitting in our lockers. Coach Burns walks in, and he just looks at me. He goes, James. He starts clapping, and then everybody starts clapping, and I'm like, oh my God, they all saw it. They all saw it. I'm dying, dude. I can't handle this. And man, I ended up checking my phone on Twitter. It had like, I don't even know, 100,000 views. I mean, it was crazy. It blew up. I had Big D and Bubba replying back to me. I had all these big singers. Drake White, the guy that sang it, replied back to me. It was like, oh wow, this is something. So I started kind of doing that thing on Twitter. And back then, I don't know, probably posted 10 videos over the past year over there at that time. And man, they'd get like 30,000, 40,000, 20,000 views. I mean, that's crazy. That's a crazy number. That's great numbers. And I just never took it from there, and I should have. I should have done something with that. I didn't have anything to offer, but I wasn't recording any music. And nobody reached out to record any music until afterwards. But Keith Sykes did like I said, he works kind of slow, so he reached out in 2019. We didn't end up releasing this till like 2021, I think. So, anyways, that video went viral, and we were at school, and we were having a Halloween party. You know, got to keep it low key at the Christian school for the Halloween party. And we went to our boy's house out there at a camp. He had way out in the woods. He had a lake on it, big shop house, and invited people from different colleges around the area. And he was like, bring your guitar. He's like, I got a karaoke system. Bring your guitar. And I'm like, dude, not a shot. I'm bringing my guitar. Well, they were all begging me to bring my guitar. So I brought it. And, it got to the point of the night. It was, I don't know, it was getting late. And, you're like, Connor, go get your guitar. Let's go play for everybody. I mean, he had chairs. He had chairs set up like in rows, like we're at a concert. And, he's like, all right, Connor, here's my little karaoke box with a microphone that plugs into it. And he was like, just sit down and somebody's going to hold the mic for you. And I mean, so I sit down on a chair in front of all these people that are sitting in folding chairs in rows, like he set this up. And he's holding the mic and I'm leaning over singing like this. And I did like 3 songs or something. And it was cool. It was awesome. And I was like, dude, I should have a stereo system, but like, man, that's just stuff that you hear in stories. So, that was a really cool, little thing Titan wanted to put together at, his place. I was dying inside. Of course, I can't stand it. I used to not be able to stand being like the center of attention. Everybody's looking at you, waiting on you to do something. So, anyways, uh, back to Memphis. I have these little things jotted down just so I don't forget some of these stories I was trying to remember before this. Um, so when we were playing in Memphis, I was recording up there for the actual record, and one of Keith Sykes' friends was coming in, Max Gomez, and Max Gomez is a big songwriter. He's on tour with like Johnny Depp. He'd been opening for their band and a couple of other big guys like that. I didn't know who he was at the time, but my dad knew who he was, and he's kind of he's Americana type of guy. So he said, "Hey, we're gonna go do this show over here, and me and you, him, Keith Sykes." He's like, "I'll play guitar for you. You'll sing. We'll just do a little kind of acoustic type deal before he Max plays." So okay, yeah, that's awesome. We went to this place called the Rail Garden in Memphis, and that was a sick place, man. They had so the way it's set up, it's these old shipping containers, those big old shipping container boxes, and they're all stacked up, and they box you in into the big old rail garden. They have like volleyball courts. The stage is in the back, and there's like beach chairs, and there's like fire pits. People could sit around. It was a really cool setup, and got to see Max Gomez play. And then the girl that played after me was Steve Winwood's daughter. I think her name is Jessie Winwood. I could be wrong. Jamie, Jessie, something like that. But Steve Winwood is "Bring Me a Higher Love." That song. That's him. So they're like, yeah, that's Steve Winwood's daughter. And I'm like, what? So I got to meet her. She's like, hello, how are you doing today? And that was really cool. So got to meet her and play with another girl over there. And it was that was another really cool night. Me and Max and another guy, Jed Zimmerman, we were messing. We were talking with. We were kind of the only younger guys over there in our party. So they were like, "Hey, y'all want to go to? You want to go out a little bit?" I'm like, "Well, that depends. We're in Memphis. Where are we going to go out?" They're like, "I know this place." So hop in Max's car. His agent's driving. We're going down these Memphis roads, man, and we pull up to this building, a big old brick building like you see in the 70s. And he said, it's upstairs. It's called like the Piano Bar or something like that. I'm just remembering this now. And so we go upstairs, and it's like a speakeasy, like very low key place. And did not know it was. I don't even think it had a sign out front. And open the door, and there's like a piano. there's a bar, people serving stuff at the bar. There might be 10, 15 people in here. And it's like me, Max, Jez, who's another singer, and his agents over there. And like all these people are surrounding us. And Max hops on the piano and he's just playing his thing, doing his thing. And I'm like, dude, this is like some rock star shit. You know what I'm saying? This is really cool. But that was awesome. So got to meet Max that night, and I still keep in touch with him every now and then. And a couple of other these guys that worked with Keith Sykes that I know. When I was growing up, we got to know these guys like Richard Lee, who wrote "Don't Make My Brown Eyes Blue." Larry Joe Taylor, big Texas guy. He's got the Larry Joe Taylor Music Festival. And Keith Sykes does a songwriting thing over there. Keith Sykes Songwriting Festival over there. So I got to go to Melody Mountain, which is his big old ranch in Stephenville, Texas. And Keith asked me to come and do a song with him. And I was like, yeah, man, of course. That'd be cool. Go out to Stevensville, Texas. There ain't nothing out there anyways except TTU, Tarleton. What's it called? Tarleton State. So I got to go out there, stay in a little cabin. And I knew, I've known these guys, some of these guys since I was like 10. So it wasn't that weird. Richard Lee was there. Larry Joe was there, his place, Keith Sykes. And he said, hey, Konner, you can't, well, I'll let you do this one song. And he said, my buddy Sean Camp's going to play guitar for you. And then we're just going to do that. I said, okay. So the night's coming up. And I said, man, don't you think we should like practice? And he's like, no, we don't need to practice. I'm like, dude, can we practice so like I have a better peace of mind? Like I've never played with this guy before. So I go to his RV so we can go practice, and Sean's in there, and I didn't know who Sean Camp was at the time. And we're sitting in his RV just chit chatting, and Sean, he's him and Keith are going back and forth, and he's like, yeah, man, whenever I wrote that song, we were just walking through the airport, and I had one pina colada in my hand, and I said, well, what if I had two pina coladas? And then I wrote that song, Two Pina Coladas. And I'm like, this is the guy that wrote Two Pina Coladas? And so we start doing our little practice session, and he is just ripping it. I'm like, oh, yeah, he's right. We didn't need to practice. I needed to practice. And so his songwriting festival, all these guys that come out here, and they all have to have number ones. So it gets about 10 guys, 10 people, even some women that come out here that had some number one hits on the radio. And first night over there, man, I'm just hearing all these people sing. And I'm like, oh my goodness, you wrote that song. Like to everybody that's singing. I'm like, what? One of the ladies, Susan Gibson, awesome lady. Susan Gibson wrote Wide Open Spaces for the Dixie Chicks. And she is a personality and a half. She's got a personality on her. And we were out there, she was playing, and then she came sat next to me. She said, well, that was hell fun, wasn't it? And we went by the campfire, and she showed up by the campfire. So we're sitting around over there, and she's playing my guitar. She's singing. Django Walker, Jerry Jeff's son, is over here. He's singing with her playing the guitar. I'm like, dude, this is the coolest thing ever. And they had some other guys over there. Roger Cook. Roger Cook wrote "Long Cool Woman in a Black Dress." And man, they had a lot of different people over there that just had number ones. You'd never know it was them. It was just so cool. All right, guys, I'm back. Had to go make a little drinky poo with the BT, sponsored by BT tonight. Thank you, Buffalo Trace, for the ads. Another thing, guys, if you want to sponsor the podcast, come on, let me know. Let's do it. Let's get some sponsors on here. But great guys over there. So Keith Sykes, he's just kind of he's a songwriter, great songwriter, and he just grew up and grew into all these other songwriters. Man, they all grew up at the same time. So Keith was from Kentucky, and he moved out to New York City, and he met a guy named Keith Sykes. He met a guy named Jerry Jeff Walker. He heard Mr. Bojangles on the radio a couple of times, and he went and saw him play. And he's like, "Oh, that's the guy that sings Mr. Bojangles." So he went and talked to him, and they got to knocking it off. And he was like, "Oh yeah, man, you can stay in my apartment." So Keith was staying with Jerry Jeff in his apartment in New York, and they'd go do these coffee circuit runs they used to have back then, where they'd go play these coffee shops, I believe, or in these hotels and Holiday Inns, things like that. Guys that are hanging around there and that are playing these. It's like Chris Christopherson, the Highwaymen, those type of guys. And he lived with Jerry Jeff in New York for about 2 years doing that. They'd go play at different colleges and stuff, and that's how you had to do it back then. And one day Jerry Jeff was like, "Man, I got this guy down in Key West. You have to go see him." And this was before Key West was like a cool place. He says, "This is where he lives. Here's his address. His name's Jimmy. Tell him I sent you." All right. So Keith hitchhikes all the way to Key West. And he shows up to the address and pulls up to the front yard. And there's I think Jimmy Buffett was outside or something. He's like, "Hey, Jerry Jeff sent me." He's like, "All right, come on in." And Jimmy Buffett wasn't big back then. This was probably 1970, 71 or something like that. And they started writing songs and doing stuff together, and they did the Jimmy Buffett thing. And Keith became a coral reefer. He played in Jimmy Buffett's band for a while. They wrote songs together. Keith wrote Costa Marseilles and Volcano for for Jimmy Buffett. So very, very notable songwriter. He knew everybody, man. So these songwriting deals, I love songwriting festivals more than I like going to concerts, because you get to hear the story behind it. You get to hear how they wrote it, the people they met when they were doing that. Sean Camp wrote some crazy song. Sean Camp wrote all kinds of songs. Josh Turner, "Would you go with me if we walk through streets of fire?" And he wrote. You got to look up his portfolio of what he wrote. It is insane. So that's the kind of guys I was doing my recording with, and I'm just so blessed to be able to even had a part in that and see how these guys interacted, see how they do the things the right way, what the wrong way is. Like Richard Lee. I knew Richard Lee, like I said, when I was 12. And man, he'd come and play these songs. He's got one of my favorite songs is an unrecorded song by his, and it's called "The First Cub Scout." And he wrote it because his little son was a Cub Scout, back in the 80s or something. And he was like the den king or whatever Richard Lee was for his son. They were like, "Richard, could you please write a song for us?" He's like, "Well, I'll put something together." And so he wrote the First Cub Scout. You got to go look that up on YouTube. That's such a great song. And it almost became like the anthem for the Cub Scouts. And whenever he was writing "Don't It Make Your Brown Eyes Blue," everybody thought it was about a woman, but he had this little dog, and his dog had one blue eye and one brown eye. It was one of those little puppies that had one of those little dogs that had one of those eye things, and his dog had passed away. And he was sitting on his couch trying to think of a song to write, and he had his dog's collar on one of his trophies or Grammys or something like that. And he said, "Don't it make my brown eyes blue?" And he wrote that song. And Crystal Gale is the one that made that song famous. And another thing, Crystal Gale is the sister of I'm not going to get this wrong. Crystal Gale's sister. She's the sister of y'all know her, Loretta Lynn. It's Loretta Lynn's sister. I found that out like a year ago when somebody said that on a podcast or something. It was Dusty Slay said that on a podcast. Don't know when I've been so blue. Don't know what's come over you. You found someone new, and don't it make my brown eyes blue? But I love that song. Such a good song. You ought to hear Richard Lee sing it. He sings it on a YouTube video for the Texas Connection with Jerry Jeff Walker, and I believe he's playing with another lady that's on there. But man, I got to meet some cool people, dude. It was I know I'm missing some stories. You know, another time when I was playing baseball in college, and my coach had found out that I could sing. He goes, "Baby, you want to do the national anthem?" I'm like, I mean, no. He's like, "Come on, baby, do the national anthem." I'm like, "All right, I'll do it." So I sang the national anthem, and it was awesome. First time I did it before. And we were playing a doubleheader that day. And he goes, "Hey, baby, taking a break? We played our first game." He goes, "We're taking a break. You gonna sing it again?" I'm like, "Again? We singing our, you don't sing it again." He's like, "Yes, baby. We over here, we singing the national anthem again." I'm like, "Coach, I am not singing the national anthem again." He goes, "My ass. You're singing the national anthem again." Oh my goodness. And I did it again. But I had the guys coming, they're like, "Dude, your voice sounds like God." I mean, he really did say that, but it was really weird. I hated doing stuff like that, man. But it was so cool. But yeah, like I said, had some cool gigs that I have been a part of. You know, got to play at some super sick places, man. I went down in Arkansas in the middle of nowhere, and we played in what is it called? Mountain Home, Arkansas. Have y'all ever heard of Mountain Home, Arkansas before? It is, let me tell you, you got to drive 30 minutes to go get some service. You do not have phone service. And I showed up to this place. It's like $100 a night for a room because, good Lord, they're begging you to come. It looked like one of those cities in the mountains, and it's like one of those cities in the mountains you see on a crime television show where the sheriff's crooked, and somebody comes in town and they don't know who it is, and they're trying to figure out how the sheriff's crooked. Like the haze over the mountains, it's always cold. It was freezing over there and like raining the whole time. It was like we were in a detective show. And I played at this place called Tally Ho. And they called me to come play. And this guy set it up, Ron Helm, who was, got to tell that story too. Ron Helm, he set it up and he said, "Man, this will be great. You're going to play 2 nights, Friday, Saturday night." I said, "All right, I'll come do it." And they're supposed to be giving me some good money. I thought it was. And so they paid me Friday night after I played. And then Saturday after I played, I'm like, "All right, money." They're like, "That was it, Friday." I was like, "No, no, no. That was one night. I played for 2 nights." And I was like, it was a huge mess. I'm like, "Guys, y'all think I drove 8 hours to come play here for that?" Like, no, no, no. At least double it. So, anyways, it was a cool place. It also were a dry county. So the way you would go drink in this bar, you had to sign up for a membership. That's the only way they could serve alcohol is if you were a member of a club. Clubs could sell alcohol, but you had to pay to be a club. You had to pay to be a member. So I had to actually pay $20 to this restaurant in the middle of Arkansas. $20. And they gave me a card with my name on it that said, I wish I still had the card. I can't believe I don't. And they said, you're an honorary member. Never have to pay again. And now you can drink over there. But back to this Ron Helm guy. Oh, Ron Helm, man. I love this dude. He's an old man, old soul, great guy. And when I first met him, it was from Keith Sykes. We were in Memphis, and he said, I was going to do this show in Arkansas. It was kind of close to Memphis, not too far. And these people were putting me up in this room to come play for their July 4th thing. And when I was over there, I like talking to people, so get to know people. You never know who you're going to meet. So I'm talking to this guy, and we're talking about music, and he tells me these guys' names, and I said, oh, man, I love, like, Coulter Wall. And he goes, Coulter? I know Coulter. I'm like, you know Coulter? Oh, yeah. I know Coulter very well. I got his phone number. I'm like, what? And, dude, I'm a diehard Coulter Wall fan. And he's like, oh, yeah. So he said, I'll get you to meet Coulter. So one day, this is probably maybe a year later, maybe 6 months to a year later, I'm with my buddy in his house, and I get a phone call from him. And it's at 9 or 10 at night. And I go, I know exactly what this is. And I told my friends at the table, I said, wait, y'all listen to this. Because I just knew what it was. I said, hello? Hey, Konner. I said, yes, sir. I got somebody over here that wants to talk to you real quick. I said, oh, my God. He goes, hey, Konner, how you doing, buddy? I said, oh, my God. Dude, I blacked out. I don't even know a word I said. I just remember he was like, how you doing, buddy? Heard you're a fan of my music. That's all I remember. It was Coulter Wall talking to me through the phone. And I was like, Coulter, my dog. I was dying. I mean, I did not even know what to say. I think I probably didn't say a word, but I was just freaking out. And he said he was going to get us to a show, and I ended up going to a show in Oklahoma. And we went to this casino over there in Oklahoma, right there in Decatur or something like that. Decatur, something like that, right on the edge of Oklahoma and Texas. And me and Ron went over there and called Coulter, and he had some tickets for us to the front. So didn't get to meet him that night. His manager was being quite the ass, so nobody was allowed backstage. But I got to go to a freaking Coulter Wall concert for free last year, and it was sick. You know, the guy Ron, he was dying because he was like, man, I promised you all this, and you didn't get to meet him. I can't believe it. I'm like, dude, I got to see Coulter Wall for free, front row. You can't beat that. And that was awesome. I mean, that was so sick. And I know even to this day, I know that haunts Ron because he promised me. Even before we went to the concert, he had called me. He said, hey, I'm at the venue now. Coulter said he might be able to meet right now. Can you drive over here if you can? I said, yeah, I can drive over there. I said, all right, I'll be in touch. Called me back and said, they want to wait till after the show. I'm like, all right, well, no problem. So we went back to the hotel, drank a couple beers, went to the casino, watched him play over there. We waited in line. We waited for him to walk out. And I was like, Ron, it ain't happening. We ain't going to see him tonight. His manager stopped answering the phone, so we couldn't get in touch with him. And I, for one, had a great time. I got to see a Coulter Wall show. I would have done it anyways. I would have paid for it, but I didn't have to. And it was sick, man. So, anyways, that's it for this week. Concerts, cool little stories like that. Man, we're going to have somebody on the pod very soon, and you're going to enjoy it. I appreciate everybody for listening. I hope y'all have a great weekend. We're doing fine. And, one more thing. You guys, I want y'all to leave some comments. Let me answer some questions. If you got any questions, send them in the comments. Put them down below. If you're on YouTube, Spotify, send them to me on Instagram. Send them to me on TikTok. Send them to me wherever. I want to answer your questions on here. Get to know each other a little better. And we're having fun, babe. We're doing fine. Konner out. Y'all have a good one. I'm starting the weekend. Think I'm gonna start drinking.